Hey,
Hey, hey,
hey.
hey, how's it going?
Hey there.
Happy Tuesday. Happy Live Day.
Let's see who's coming
How's
on.
everybody doing today?
Hey,
It's
hey.
good to see everybody. Happy Tuesday evening.
Happy Tuesday.
Yes, we're Terrence and Jill. We'd like to
Yes.
welcome y'all to a God-Ordained Union.
Yes.
And for those of you that hadn't known about us, we are newlyweds afterwards of that. Been married about 2.5 years. So we feel real good about reaching to this point here.
Yes.
Together, still going strong.
Yes.
Yes,
We
our
in it to win it.
absolutely. Our vision is to help increase kingdom marriage,
Yeah.
and we do that by sharing our testimony, what we went through while we was in God waiting room, which is what I call the elevation room,
Mm-hmm.
and we just want to share our experiences and let you know that you're not by yourself,
Right.
and to also let you know that God He created marriage and He is for you being married. So if that's what you want, then you're in the right place.
Yeah. Yeah. We know what you're feeling. Hey, hey. We know what you're feeling if you are feeling like you are in this thing alone. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
for those hearts. That heart. For those of you who feeling like you're in this alone and you don't know how long you got to wait, or if there's somebody for you, or if God has shown you that person and it's lagging or not going as fast as you want it to go, you got to trust him. You got to
Yes.
trust him. He ordains it. And so the enemy's job is to prevent it. So one of the biggest things that the enemy does is that he messes with your mind. He messes with your thoughts and your mind. And he messes with it, so he's so crafty. He messes with it, so it's not just the woe is me thoughts. What's one of his mind tricks that he does is that he causes you to think anxiously, where you manipulate the process, and you manipulate, which causes you to abort. And so I hear a lot of people say, what God has for you is for you. It is. It is for you. But if you get it, it's a different story. So it's just like everything in the Bible is a metaphor and an example of what we're going through today. The children of Israel, they could have reached the promised land in 11 days, but it took them 40 years. Hey, hey,
Absolutely.
hey. Is the doubt every single time finish, Gallerina? Yes. And so it took them 40 years. And so what God has for you is for you, but where it's all about timing. And so sometimes God is waiting on us. We think we're waiting on him. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
you have to be very, very in tune to everything. Y'all know those of you who've been rocking with us since day one, y'all know the story. When when it was revealed that Terrence was the one, I went on shutdown. I did not I it cost me friendships because I did not allow anybody to speak in my ear, because I was that intent about listening to what the Lord was saying. I fasted every day. I prayed continuously. My prayer life increased tremendously. And I was like, this is different. And I don't, hey Wanda, happy being in our neighborhood. Sorry we can't meet up with you because I know you're leaving. Or are you already back in Maryland? But I was very intent, and I was not going to miss what God was doing. I knew it was, as I said, it was something very different. It was different, and I was curious to know what it was, because I kept getting revelations. Oh, okay. Well, sorry we can't see. Hey, Kelsey, forever Kelsey. Sorry we ain't gonna be able to see you, but definitely next time we'll plan better, so that we can meet up with you. But yeah, so I didn't. I was very careful of what I let in my ear gates. I didn't want anybody's opinion, and so I told I didn't. I spoke very little, and I was very careful of who I talked to, because people's opinions is a trick of the enemy.
Yeah.
Could be a trick of the enemy. And so yeah, so that's what this channel, that's what we're on a mission For so those of you who are new, we did not settle. We did not settle. We didn't want to be married for the sake of being married. We just didn't. We wanted our person, and so we waited, and we trust God, trust Him all the way to the point where if it was just gonna be me and God, it was a hard prayer to pray, but that's where it had gotten to, where Lord, Your will and not my will, and within months, like seriously, this person appeared. So, but yeah.
It's funny you say that, just in months, because it took us years to get to that point.
Yeah.
We relinquished it to him. So it's like,
And
we went through, tried everything we knew to meet that person ourselves, to the point to where when we finally got to where it's like, okay, Lord, if it's in Your will, then I just got to relinquish it to You, because I tried everything I could do, and it ain't worked out yet.
I hear that, Wanda. Wanda said she finally prayed that prayer, that if it's just gonna be her and Brave, which is her doggy, is gonna be that. That's right. Vintage Gallery said it is very different. Likely I'll finally understand why people say you know when you know. Yep.
Yeah.
Beyond that, though, she says her relationship with the Lord has been restored, and that is key. And that's all He wants. He wants
He just wants intimacy with you. He wants the closeness with you. He wants the honesty with you, and He wants to know that. And here's the thing. He wants to know that we look to Him for everything we need every single day. He don't like anybody being put before Him.
That's right. So those of you who are new, welcome. Please come back. We're here every Tuesday, God's willing. Every Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so, what she say? How did your friends deal with your transition into your preparation? That's a whole video, and I'm glad you asked that, because I started doing. If y'all have noticed, I've started doing Waiting to Wifey Chronicles, and it's just me. Terrence does the word of the day by himself every morning, and so I've been doing these chronicles because there's some things I want to just share with the ladies that Terrence doesn't necessarily want to hear, but there's some things, because there's some transitions that's going to happen when you're going from your waiting season to transition into your wifey season, and you need to be prepared. And I wish a lot of people would have told me. And Vintage Gallerina, one of the things is that you're going to lose some friends, some close friends, because this is what nobody talks about, but they do talk about it, because you see it play out in all kind of movies and TV shows. Whenever there's a best friend duo and the bride is getting married, the best friend got an issue with it. And so I'm going to talk about that in one of the chronicles that's coming up. Hey, Boo. Hey, Joy. So I'm going to talk about that in my personal experience, and I'm going to be very transparent because it's a real thing. That when I went into to the point of you never heard of a marriage season until a few months ago. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, that's I'm going to talk about this. I don't want to give anything away, but I'm going to talk about that on one of the chronicles in the next couple of days. Yeah, but the point is that the enemy will try to mess with your mind, and so you need to be very focused and honed in, because for a lot of you all who are quote unquote in the elevation room or in the waiting room, the person is right around you. Yeah. The person is right. It's like an airplane hovering and waiting to land.
Just waiting to land.
Just waiting to land. And so we are programmed to think a certain way, and how it's gonna be and how it should be and how we want it to be, and we're missing it. And that's for a lot of things. And just this week, I had a come to Jesus moment about those who've been rocking with us know we are looking for a house. We're looking for a home. And the way my mind had been programmed, I was very limited on what I thought I wanted, what I think we wanted, what I think we can afford, what I, want to pay for, want us to pay for, mortgage and whatever, land and whatever. And I had to have a reprogram of my mindset just over the weekend. And so you'd be surprised at how your mind is not just manipulating you, but keeping you stuck. So yeah, you're gonna lose more than just your thinking. You're gonna lose some friends too. So, whew. All right.
And that was a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah. So keep hanging out with us.
So those of you that are new here, we have like a plethora of videos. So please go back, check out the first 5. That'll give you a little bit about how we got started, our story, and then as we started building. But go check us out.
Yeah. So we got a message today because the season is upon us.
Yes.
Oh, okay. She says, I'm over 50, never been married, no kids, believe that it was too late. My mom was obsessed with God's timing. I was in the same boat. I walked down the aisle at 52 years old. I was 48 when I came across. Go watch the video. We'll put it up here. We'll put it right up here. Hopefully it's going to play up there when this video ends. It's the second video that we ever did, and that was like 4 years ago. But I was over 50, never had any children. I miss motherhood. That's a whole video in itself. And I just thought that I was always a loner. I just always thought that I would never be married. And everybody else thought I would never be married. And so, but when God says it is so, it is so. And so, yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah, so here we are. And I got my dream. I got my crush. I got my crush. And so I was crushing on him for an entire almost 2 years before he contacted me and before he reached out to me. So, but yeah, go watch the video. But yeah, the season is upon us.
Yes.
Bun season. What you call it? Bun season.
And this season is it's the best and the worst season of every year.
Yeah, and this season is going to be it's going to try to push a lot of emotional buttons because it's the election.
Yeah.
It's the election time. So election season. So but this season is going to be in November and December to remember for goodness, for something good. And it's going to be a very, very fruitful season. It's going to be a fruitful season. We're declaring it.
Yes.
And some of you are going into the season solo, and it's okay.
Yes.
But we're going into the season with you, and we're going to all be fruitful together. And we're going to break it down of what we're going to be doing in this season. Because you're not by yourself.
True.
Even though you are not married yet, you're not in this by yourself.
Right. And we went through it.
Yes.
So we felt exactly the way you feel right now.
Yes. I remember really quickly my story of single. Lived on my own forever since I was became an adult. But it wasn't until 2016 when I relocated to North Carolina from Maryland that I brought a Christmas tree. I was 46 years old. And I love Christmas. My first cousin is on here. Our tradition had always been, we go to New York. It's homecoming for us. We would go to New York to my grandparents' house. My grandmother was Christmas. Like, she was Jesus's elf. Like, and we would get home to New York to our grandparents' house. It'd be a big old welcome sign. My grandmother had a beautiful Christmas tree, always the lights all over, outside the house, always decorated. My grandmother had a big, beautiful Christmas tree. And I kid you not, the gifts used to be just as high as the tree. And every year, my grandparents would buy all of the girls' coats, Rothschild coats. You know them expensive kids' coats. We will always get coats, but we did that all the way up until my grandmother passed away, up until 2006. So after that, I never got a Christmas tree. Because I always looked at Christmas was, with my grandparents. And of course there were years after that, well, we, went to my parents' house for Christmas or whatever. But then when I relocated to to North Carolina, I spent, Christmases alone. And so in 2016, something said, you know what? Even though it's going to be a solo Christmas, you're going to do something different. And so I asked one of my girlfriends, I told her, I said, I want to get this Christmas tree. I saw this Christmas tree at Home Depot and I want to get it. And I said, they're holding it for me. She had a truck. I said, they're holding it for me. The tree was so big. And I said, they're holding it for me. And I said, and I need a truck, to get it. She was like, oh, no, don't worry. I'm going to get that. I'm going to go with you. We're going to go get that truck. And so, we're going to go get that tree. So we went to Home Depot. No, so she called me that day and she said, I'm going to have to meet you there. She said, I'm going to meet you at Lowe's or Home Depot. And she said, and I'll meet you there. And so I drove and I was waiting for her and waiting for her and waiting for her. And to this day, I don't know what happened. And she never came. And I was determined the enemy is not going to steal my joy. I said this year, I wanted to get a Christmas tree. And I'm going to get this Christmas tree. And I tell you, because I had a little small car, I broke up every piece of that tree because it was a display. So it didn't have a box. And they said it was going to hold this tree for me. And I said, I'm going to get this Christmas tree. And I don't know how I got that Christmas tree home. And it's still our Christmas tree to this year. I was determined I was going to get that Christmas tree. And that year, I put up a Christmas tree and I decorated my apartment. And it was such an amazing Christmas. The very next year, my nephew got out of prison. And I said, I invited him to stay with me. And I said, we're going to put up the tree together because he had missed many Christmases. I said, we're going to put up the tree together. I'm going to cook a big Christmas dinner. And I said, nephew, it's just going to be me and you. I went shopping. I bought him all kind of Christmas gifts. I was like, I refuse to let the enemy steal my joy. I'm going to have this beautiful Christmas. And that was 2017. So 2016 was the first time I had a tree. 2017 was the year that my nephew came home and I decided I was going to have Christmas. We weren't going to go to Maryland. 2018, y'all, I kid y'all not. That was the year that I came across Terrence. And so I truly believe that God was working all of that for the good. He changed my mindset. He was putting me in a different mindset. And so yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about some things to help get you guys going, get you in the mindset, to help get you in the festive mood for the season. That way you can enjoy every day of this season to your fullest. And know that even if you're not with someone, you're going to have the best time of your life.
Yes. And we're going to break it down in fruit. Since we've been talking about fruitfulness for the last couple of months, we're going to break down how you can have a fruitful holiday season. A fruitful holiday season. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. So what's the first recommendation? And we're doing this too.
We're going to do this with you. So you're not by yourself, which means throughout the holiday season, you guys already know that's been rocking with us. You can access us in so many different ways. Anytime you want to talk, anytime you want to come in agreement with prayer, whatever it is, we will sit and listen and get you through whatever it is you're going through. So you will not have to spend this holiday completely alone. We're just a message away.
Yeah. So, and those of you who do not have like our phone number or whatever, feel free to email us at terrenceandjill@gmail.com. TER. Well, you see name, TerrenceandJill@gmail.com.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the first thing we're going to do this holiday
the first
season?
thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about love. What do you do about love this Christmas, this holiday season? Ooh. And that is, we want you to start focusing and showing love for others as you do for yourself, and for yourself as you do for others. Okay, so we're going to rock this with the fruits of the Spirit. So number one is love. So
do some self-love.
So practice showing yourself love this holiday. If
Whatever
nobody else loves
like.
you need to love yourself.
Even if you got to look in the mirror and and that's a good thing. Maybe this season, because a lot of people, ooh, I just got an idea, because a lot of people, they don't come from families where they say, I love you. And so when you get married, like, let me just be transparent. That's our family. We don't say I love you. Now, I tell the kids and stuff, but to really tell, I love you to my family, we don't do that. We didn't grow up like that. Not that we showed love. We didn't say love. And so, but now we say it to each other all day.
Yeah.
Every day. My husband got this thing. Did I tell you I love you today? You sure did. Did I tell you I love you today? You sure did. So this might be, a good practice for you to do is this season, tell a family member you love them, and then look in the mirror and tell yourself you love you.
Yes.
Do some self-love.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
What did Wanda say?
Okay, so Forever Kelsey said, I decided to show love towards my family this year. I always thought they didn't like me. And God, girl. And Kelsey, that could be a block in itself. That can be a block in itself. And then Wanda said her family always showed love when she was growing up, and now they say I love you. Yeah, a lot, but a lot of families, they just don't say I love you. And yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say it. And I do it also because I know it's a love language. So
wow, God showed you. Kelsey said God showed her it was a marriage block. Wow. You'd be surprised. Wow. So yeah.
So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna do this with you guys. So let's practice showing some love this holiday.
We love you. we love y'all.
Each and every one of you. Absolutely.
Yes.
Number 2 is joy. Now, joy, you want to just look for reasons to get in the festive
I love
mode.
you too,
You want
Joy.
to look for reasons to get into the mood of the season and enjoy the season every single day. Find joy in everything about the season.
Yeah, whatever that looks like, whatever it is Jesus joy. So whatever, make a decision that you're going to be joyful and that you're going to practice joy, whatever that looks like for you, that you're going to be joyful and you're not going to allow no one to steal your joy.
Absolutely. And you might have to be creative. You might have to find something that either you've always loved to do and you just never made the time for it. And this is now the time to do it. Or, just whatever it is that puts you into that mood. Just, just put it all in. Put it all in. The next one is peace. Now this is one of my favorites, and I'm going to tell you why. Because now we want you to kind of slow down. One, we want you to get some rest. Get you as much rest as you need
this season.
But also, and there's something that Jill and I have been doing since we've been together, and that is we slow down. We stop trying to put 5 different things on our calendar on Saturday, thinking that one, we're going to get them all done in one day, and then 2, if we did, we wouldn't enjoy any of them because we rushed through all of them to get them done. So now we put one thing that we know we're going to do.
If we have an event, if we got somebody, if there's an event, we focus on that one event so that we don't have to rush from it.
We give it 100%.
We give it 100% of our attention.
Yes.
And so,
and we've learned that we have actually enjoyed those individual things. And then if you get done early enough and want to do something else, you can always still do something else. But focus and put everything you can into that one event. That way, like she said, you don't have to rush through it.
Mm-hmm.
You can enjoy it. You can be attentive, and you can get more out of it.
Right.
And it's going to be even more rewarding to you when you get something out of it.
Yes.
So yes.
So this to be at peace.
Yeah.
You know, get
slow
rest.
down, take your time.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Be at peace and just get that rest in.
Now, number 4 is patience.
Mm.
Here, we want you to focus on being patient with God's plan for you and his timing.
Oh my gosh.
Understand that our timing, and this is something hard for most people, our timing, no matter how much we want something, is not God's time.
Yeah.
So just practice, just giving in to his plan for you and his timing.
And be patient with
yes.
with what he's doing and how he's doing it. And that's how you can rest and just be patient. Yeah.
And by doing that, what you also do is put yourself in an environment where you're going to start to hear his voice even more clear. He's going to be able to show you some things and help share some things with you about where you're going and why you're where you are. Because there may be some things that he's purging you through before he takes you to the next season.
Yeah. So really quickly, so the 2016, I got a Christmas tree. 2017, I had Christmas dinner with just me and my nephew. 2018, that June, is when I came across Terrence's profile on that social media, on that dating site. And for those of you who don't know the story, I kept contacting, I didn't keep, but I was like, you know how you do on those. Okay, I was kept contacting, but I hate to admit that, but I was poking him to say, what's up, dude? And so because he didn't respond, and then I didn't see that there was an indication that he saw that I was contacting him, I knew that it was a Facebook attachment to it. So I looked him up on Facebook. And so that Christmas, which I didn't know then it was his birthday, but that Christmas, I came across his Facebook page. The same profile he had on the dating site was the same profile picture he had on Facebook, so same full name. And so I spent like the whole Christmas day looking at his content. And the more I looked, the more I liked. I was not clicking like, but just admiring from afar. And so, but I remember I got impatient. And that's when I contacted him on Facebook. So I got impatient, and because in my mind, how else will he know? And I do realize and I do understand, just as God did with Esther and he did with Ruth and he did with Eve, he brought the woman to the space where the man is. And so I went into Facebook and I was impatient. So I reached out to him. I reached out to Terrence, and it fell on my face. It fell, and so I pulled back. And so at that point, I knew God was, because I was about to manipulate the process. And if I would have, when I tell you God's grace and mercy was so powerful, because some of y'all know the story. When I reached out to him on Facebook, in Facebook Messenger, so when he responded, I immediately got a friend request from him. And so because he acted nonchalant and he didn't respond back, he half-heartedly responded back, I was going to just say, forget him, cut him off. Like, how dare he? He think he all of that. And I was just going to cut. But what held me on was because I thought he requested me as a friend. So I was like, well, he has some type of interest because he requested me as a friend. I didn't know until way months later from one of my girlfriends that if you send a DM to the person Facebook will automatically send you a request as if it was coming from the person you were contacting. Very skillful. And so God was even working in the, and because I would have said, I would have ran real hard. Like, you're not going to embarrass me and make me seem like a fool. And so, but I kept holding on. And so, but I was impatient in the beginning. I was impatient in that Christmas season because I was alone. I was solo and I was impatient. And yeah, I ran past the ball, but God,
God reeled it back.
He reeled it back. He reeled it back.
Here's what most people forget. When you're wanting something, and in this case, a relationship, and then you finally meet somebody, you've been wanting a relationship for so long, it's almost like you try to force feed it to go faster to get you to where you think you should be if you would have met that person a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
But what you have to realize is the second before you met that person, they didn't know you existed.
No.
So when she said I didn't respond to her, well, it was because I was busy doing life somewhere else. I didn't know who she was. I never met her before. I wasn't on Facebook at the time a lot, which is why when she looked, it showed that I never even seen her message.
Yeah.
Because there was a time back then I hadn't been on Facebook for months at a time. And when I do, I may spend a couple hours just strolling, catching up with friends or something, and then I get back off. Because I had just finished going through a period of my life where I was on social media a lot. So I was trying to separate myself, give me a break, recharge my battery, redefine what I wanted to be and who I wanted to be. So that's how all of that happened. So don't get stressed out when you first meet somebody if things don't go the way that you think it should go immediately.
Right. And when that happened, speaking of patience, what God did was he gave me a lesson on patience. And we talked about this a couple of months ago. The first characteristic of love is patience. And I believe more than ever that there's going to be a lesson on patience if that's the area you're low in, for everyone who's getting into a love connection. There's going to be a lesson, and there was a lesson from me. So that from that Christmas until, not only patience, but I know we can go on to faith, I think, but patience and faith. Like, I went into a hard lesson. I did not know what was going to happen. I did know that I was in, as Ruth was, I was in the field now. I was in his territory. He could see me because we were Facebook friends, but he was in my, I was in his view. But I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I know what I desired, but God broke me down. And that's when I really started like putting my ear to the pavement. And I was praying hard because it was like, what the heck? And I kept my hands off. I knew from that point, keep your hands off of it. You can look from afar, but if you're going to look where it's going to make you act out of God's timing and will, you're out of order. And it took a lot of and we'll go, but patience was had to be developed in me.
Yeah. So with that, we're going to go into the next one, which is kindness. And kindness, that's almost self-explanatory. Through this season, let's show some act of kindness.
Acts of kindness, yeah.
Acts of kindness, whether it's serving others, whether it's just being kind to others.
It could be as simple as letting someone in traffic.
Yeah.
Be kind. Just show some kindness. Just
it can be simple as when you go to Walmart and you see one of those cashiers look like they've been standing all day. Just to say something kind to them, to just cheer them up. So because they've been standing for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 hours and they just gotten tired, hadn't had a break or something. Just uplift them a little bit.
Yeah, show some kindness.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The next one is goodness.
Ooh.
Goodness, and that's actually showing acts of service.
Yeah, some goodwill. Go out and do something good and serve some. Go volunteer. I remember one year, one Thanksgiving, which, those of you who know my family, my mother is the cooker. And one year, my mother, it was like, what the heck? She did not cook. And she was like, this year, I'm going to serve the homeless. We was like, what? It was the weirdest. And we all went to other people's houses to eat. We was like, she was like, I'm going to the homeless shelter to cook. And we was like, what the heck? But yeah, and so this year we'll be doing we'll be doing some things with the veterans.
Yes.
So we're excited. We're looking forward to that. So we're gonna be doing, of course, our good, and November's Nonprofit Awareness Month. So we got a whole bunch of business things we got planned. Because that's our business, the Smith serve. And so yeah, but do something good, do something, go into the community, go volunteer. And as a matter of fact, that's what Tammy said, my sister. She said this year, that's what they plan to do. They're going to serve the homeless in Atlanta. That's what they're going to do.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yep. So, and it doesn't have to be on Thanksgiving Day. There's, we're entering into giving season, so it can be any.
Yes.
Do something. You can just go down and do
you
something.
You can help somebody
good.
Go vote.
Ooh.
Just saying.
You could drive somebody to the
just
polls.
Saying. Somebody need a ride.
Somebody need a ride to the polls.
Yeah.
You got a point there, Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
You're going to do Toys for Tots?
I used to be the coordinator for that in Charlotte when I was in the Marine Corps. Yeah.
So Wanda, you doing it with Nina, right? Oh, she said she loved going to Toys for Tots events in December. Yeah, Wanda, Nina is having her brunch in December, and then Priscilla and Donita, my other clients in Maryland, they're gearing up to do a toy drive. So there's more. I mean, if you want to, volunteer places is more. If you just need if you need a referral for somewhere, I'm your girl. Let me know. If you want to do something good in a community, just let me know. So that's goodness.
No doubt. That's goodness. Then we got faithfulness. And faithfulness, we are suggesting that you start strengthening your faith. Get back in the word. Spend some alone time just reading, studying, worshiping, praying, fasting, getting yourself to where you are just so you can just discern God's voice from everything that's going on around you. So just put some me time in between you and the Lord and just spend some time with him.
And I want to say, those of you who knew part of the testimony, so after I fell on my face with Terrence and God was developing patience in me, this song right here, and I don't want to play it. I don't want to play it. Oh, I can't even blow it up for you to see it. Oh, but I had this song, Work Your Faith by J. Moss, in my ear all day, every day. That when I went walking that whole year, because it was like around Christmas time when, Terrence gave me that cold shoulder through the DM. And it wasn't until the next November that he reached out to me. But that time in between, I kept listening to Work Your Faith, Work Your Faith, Work Your Faith, Work Your Faith. And I'm telling you, when I say my faith was strong. You could not tell. I knew that this man was my husband. It was so much that I knew that I wanted God to show me that it wasn't, so that he could prove me wrong. And I kept saying, Lord, put on Facebook, let this man post a picture or post about him and his wife or him and his girlfriend, so I would know to let it go and let the idea go. But I knew that man was mine. That was my husband. You say I sound like you, Kelsey? Yep. Oh, hey, everything. CD. She said my son's school has socks for veterans all next month. Wow. Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, so I kept working my faith. I kept working. So strengthen, let this be the season that you strengthen your faith. And a lot of times, well, I ain't gonna say a lot of times, strengthen your faith. Let me tell you one of the biggest signs you know that you are moving in the direction of faith, because you can release, you can let it go. And that's how you know that, like, you don't need, and when I say let it go, you don't have to feel like you need to put your hand on it, or you need to control it, or you need to manipulate it, or you need to, well, let me just send him another message, or let me just text him again. Let it go. Let it go. So yeah.
The next one we got is gentleness. Now, this right here, we're going to ask you to be gentle to yourself, and extend grace to others.
Yeah, but be very gentle with yourself, because you're not perfect.
Yes.
You might cry. You might,
and stop judging yourself harshly. You know, because you can, whether you know it or not, you can be your own worst critic, to the point to where you're holding yourself down because you're putting yourself down.
And be gentle, because you're gonna see a lot of people with matching pajamas and all that craziness. Yeah. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle. If you feel like you gotta cry, but let me tell you the other side of that. Everybody think about no matching pajamas. Like, really, when you really, like, on Christmas morning, we are wrapped up. I probably got a mishmash. I mean, we knew to it. Probably ain't got nothing on. I mean, let's just be real. The optics ain't what we into. The optics, we are into each other on our sofa with our TV, with our Hallmark movies. It ain't even about, like, we don't want to, hair all over the head. Ain't nobody thinking about the image of how, I mean, that's cute and all, but don't let that make you sad, because that right there, a lot of
the idea of it sounds good.
The idea, looks good on TV. It sounds good, but the reality, when you really into the moment, into the person, it's behind the camera. Like, ain't nobody got time to be getting dressed and putting on Christmas is a time, to be, in your own little world. And so I'm not gonna say, but be gentle with yourself. If you feel like you gotta cry. Like, if you feel like you gotta, you feeling a certain way, feel it. Be gentle.
That's the one thing that we made sure we were clear about when we first met. And that is, neither one of us can tell the other what they don't feel.
Right.
So if she says she feels like I did something wrong, I tell her, trust your feeling. Even if I have to say I'm sorry for something that I don't know I did.
Right.
I still apologize. Why? Because she has a feeling. And I want her to always trust that feeling.
Right.
So no one can tell you should feel a certain way about anything.
Right. And especially, be gentle with yourself and be gentle with others, because you might get, the people that's going to say, you single again? You ain't got no man yet?
And
you ain't, what's wrong with you?
That comes from family most
we used to hate that. I used to hate it. I had one cousin that his wife used to say, leave her alone, because she about to cuss you out. I used to cringe, but be gentle with yourself. I mean, I remember there were countless holidays when I had to drive home by myself and cry. And so just be gentle and allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, and don't regret it, or don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself grace.
Give others grace.
And give others grace.
This is going to also be the time when selfish people are going to do selfish things.
Poke you.
And don't let them steal your joy, because they're trying to rush, or they miss something and they're trying to jump the line, or, don't cuss anybody out because they acting a fool.
Right.
Just remember that you are in your space and you are creating joy for you and everybody else that's around you.
Right. Right. So be gentle with yourself. And what's the last one?
Oh, one of my favorites, self-control. And here we just want you to just show some self-control and not overindulge.
Wanda said, mind your business. You still single? Wanda said, mind your business.
Don't overindulge.
And I used to say, mind your, and I put the F in here. I'm just going to be real. Mind your business. Like I got to that point. That's why the Lord had to do a lot of work in me. A lot. But yeah, so yes, I'm sorry, baby.
No,
Self-control.
Go
I needed self-control. Yeah. I'm sorry.
You got to, just have some self-control. Don't overindulge.
Yeah.
Don't do something that you're going to regret, come January 2nd. And then everything that you thought you sacrificed to have fun and enjoy yourself for the holidays, you feel miserable about it come the beginning of the new year because you felt like you overdid it.
Yeah. Eat with the eating. Like overdid, practice himself. Shopping, overspending because you're trying to fill a void. Practice self-control. And the main thing, self-control, though, is this is Ishmael season. Yes. Ishmael is looking and lurking, and they're looking for a vulnerable soul. So beware of Ishmael during this season. Have some self-control, have some discernment. So be careful because he's out there. He's looking for someone to bond up with because guess what? Ishmaels are lonely too. Mm-hmm. They're lonely at this. There are men who are lonely around this season as well. You'd be surprised at how many men, are really dealing with feeling lonely during the holidays. Mm-hmm. And so don't be deceived.
Yes.
Don't be deceived.
That's probably the best way to put it. Don't be deceived.
Don't be deceived. Be careful. There's a lot of things you can do to not fall prey to, And then, on the flip side, you just might meet the one on Christmas. You just might. Boys to Men got a song. I fell in love on Christmas Day. Yeah, you just never know. You don't know how God is working. You don't know how He's going to do it. And that's the beauty of it.
And that's the great thing about what we're sharing now is because usually, I can't say all the time.
I be trying, CD. I be trying.
But usually, you meet the person when you least expect it. So if you're having fun, if you're enjoying yourself,
that's how you're attracted.
That's when he's going to see you.
Yes, that's when he's going to see. He's going to be attracted.
Beautiful because you're having fun.
You're in that.
He wants to be around.
You're in that flow. And let me tell y'all something. Every best-selling book out there is a watered down version of something in the Bible. And so the law of attraction, that's what happened when you are in that grateful, happy, joyful place. You attract those types of people. That's when he comes, is when you are in your most beautiful, happy self. When I contacted Terrence the year before, I was anxious. I was impatient. I was lonely. And I contacted him from that place. And he ran. But as soon as I was in my happy mood, I was okay. I had my faith built. I had patience. God had developed patience in me. My business had just hit 6 figures. My business was flourishing. Everything was going beautiful. And that's when Terrence came. So, when we say we developing fruit this season, we developing fruit for a reason. We developing fruit for a reason because fruitful people attract fruitful people. So there's a reason why God wants to develop fruit in us.
Yes. Yes.
So don't be surprised if and let me also put this out there. I don't know what this falls on one of the fruits, but let me tell you something. If somebody gives you an invitation, especially if it's coming from a person who got good fruit, you better take that invitation. If they're inviting you to their brunch or their holiday party or whatever, gift wrapping party, go. Go. Don't be home. Woe is me. Don't do it.
Go somewhere to have some fun.
Go somewhere to
Some
be
safe
joyful, some
fun where
safe,
you can
happy
where you
fun.
can let your hair down and just enjoy being you. Because you
Yes.
don't want anybody to fall for you or fall for a facade anyway. You want them to fall for the authentic you.
What if it's a baby shower? Go. Go. You don't never know. It could be a bridal shower. It could be all women. And you there with your happy self. And somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who's there, who's a cousin of somebody from Alabama or somewhere said, oh my God, I would love for you to meet my brother. It happens that way. It happens that way. God is called providence. It's where God orders your steps and orders his steps. Is the divine intervention.
So you don't know what you don't
You
know.
don't know
And you
what
don't
you
know
don't
who
know.
you don't know.
And you don't exactly. And you don't know how God, again, it's like the children of Israel. A trip that could have taken 11 days took 40 years because they wanted to take things into their own hand, their own understanding. They wanted to put these false images up. Go. Let God order your step. I was listening to someone this morning on some platform, and they were saying that when they said when you say a statement like I gotta make it happen, I gotta make it happen, that is an indication that you are out of alignment, trying to force something to happen. I gotta make it happen, I gotta make it. You're out of alignment. Just go with the flow. If you gotta, oh my God, I don't feel like going. I don't want to go. I ain't got nothing to wear. What am I doing with my hair? What am I doing that? You're out of alignment. Just go with the flow. Go with the flow.
And don't be afraid to acknowledge something that you know God just did for you. Because there's going to be times when you're going to see something, you're going to experience something, and then on your way home, you might be like, oh my God, that had to be God.
It had to be God.
There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that because God knows what you want.
So let me tell you real quick. There was another story, a beautiful story I just saw on a platform that we frequently be on. That is kind of our guilty pleasure. This young lady was saying, no, let me tell you this real quick. I know we got to get off. Let me tell you this story real quick. So this young lady, Black young lady, young girl, she looked like she's in her 30s. She was on a trip, and I don't know if she was moving to Thailand. Excuse me. I don't know if she was moving there, but she was, no, I think she was moving there. So I'm sure she had some apprehension. So she said she gets to Thailand by herself. Beautiful girl. Got to the airport. She was by herself. And she was sitting in the airport and she was, I guess, contemplating if she had made the right move or what is she's getting into. She's by herself. And she looks over and she sees this big display of this it was like I guess it was like a lounge, and it said the butterfly room, and it was big blue butterflies, and it was like a huge, like it was like a certain area of the airport. She said, y'all, I can't make this stuff up. I cannot make this stuff up. She said, look at this room over across the airport. She showed the room, beautiful big displays. It was like a museum kind of, like an area, big blue butterflies. She said, y'all, look at my pants. She had pants on that had a big blue butterfly on the pants. She said, I can't make this up. And it be stuff like that. It's like, God be speaking. Like God is ordering you that you going in the right direction, that he confirms things. And I always look for stuff like that. Like God always speaks to me like in things like that make you say, this gotta be God. Like it's gotta be him. And so, and those are the things like if keep going in peace, God will start to show you step by step by step by step that you're moving in the right direction. And you'll be, yeah.
That's what he wants you to do, is trust him.
Just trust him. And he gonna show you it step by step. You ain't gonna see the whole thing. You don't know what you don't know.
And it's funny that we've been talking about this now, because I just did a word of the day the other day where I talked about how I use my GPS in my car to show me a different way to work. And I trusted the GPS, but we don't trust God, who gave the knowledge to whomever created the GPS.
Right. Right.
And it was just like a metaphor. As I was going to work, I was like, oh, you got to be kidding. This has got to be the word of the day for today. And it's just one of those things where we find it easy to trust things or other people, but we need to learn to trust God just as easy.
He is showing us.
Yes.
He is showing us.
And he's moving so much now to show people that he is real and he's still doing the things he was doing hundreds of years ago.
Yep. Wanda said God will always send confirmations. She said that happened to us today with the man's name on a restaurant way down here in North Carolina. I shared it with my daughter in love. Oh, wow.
And here's the thing. Just another confirmation is I remember being at work. Jill was still living in Durham. And
I didn't live in Durham. I lived in Raleigh. I ain't even live in Raleigh. I lived in Cary.
And
if y'all know, there's a difference. I didn't live in Durham.
When I would get a feeling to send her a song, I would send it.
Yeah.
And at my building, I worked on the 4th floor. So I'd have to go all the way down on the 1st floor in the cafeteria just to send her this song. And then she would hit me up later telling me that was a confirmation of a prayer that she did early that day.
And
so you have to, as long as you continue to stay in alignment and follow God's lead as he's ordering your steps, he's going to give you confirmation.
And let me put this in perspective. He would send me that song when I hadn't heard from him in 2 weeks. And I was like, Lord, you're teaching me patience. But Lord, please let me know that this man is still interested in me.
And he said that even when I used to leave her house to come back.
And he would send a song. And one Friday morning, I had gotten up. It was 4 a.m. I was on my knees praying. I was deep in prayer. Got up to get dressed, to go to work. And Terrence had sent me a song, a gospel song. And I was like, whoa, like, it's like the communication was crazy. And so God will start it'll be like pebbles.
Just like God is doing the work in you, he's doing the work in the other person as well. You just have to allow God's timing to put it together to where now you both are aware of each other. But one of you going to always be aware of the other first. That's where you got to have patience. That's where you got to have trust. That's where you got to have self-control. Yeah. So these fruits is what you need to focus on.
Yeah, develop that
fruit. To get yourself in the habit. Because if you're not in the habit now, I promise you won't be able to turn it on the day you meet somebody.
And not only that, let's just be clear. The Bible says if you do not bear fruit, you're cut off. Whatever that does not bear fruit is cut off. So that means a fruitless person is wondering where their husband is. You ain't even got God in your ear. You're disconnected. You all over the place. You're disconnected because you have no fruit. So you're bearing no fruit. So yeah. So we hope that helps.
Yes. And remember, you're not by yourself.
You're not.
We're going to be every step of the way with you.
Yes, we're every step. We're practicing these fruits too. we're, building up our fruit tree as well. So love, joy, patience, peace, faithfulness, gentleness, kindness, self-control. We're in it with you. You're not in this by yourself. And it's going to be a November and December to remember. So a lot of you, this is going to be your last single holiday season. So get prepared. All right.
So we thank you guys for allowing us to share with you.
Yes.
We hope you have an amazing remainder.
Yes. And send us an email, drop us text or whatever. Let us know some of the miraculous, open up your spiritual eyes, because it's some miraculous things about to happen. God gonna blow your mind, just like he blew that girl mind in that airport in Taiwan or Thailand, wherever she was by herself. And God matched that blue, beautiful butterfly in that same airport she was in. God's gonna be sending you, dropping things, and he's gonna be showing you some things. So keep your spiritual eyes open.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. You all be blessed, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Deuces.